Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Thanks.
All right. So I just moved here 6 weeks ago from Portland, Oregon, and Portlandia. I'm gonna do this Portlandia style. So this story, it's like everybody else, is about desire. But I was a college student. I was 21 as my junior year. I'm a frat guy, and I had a choice. All my frat brothers wanted to go to Cancun, you know, party it up, beaches, girls, drinking, all of it. But I had a different desire. I wanted to go on an adventure. My best friend from high school, Max, was in Belgium, and I knew I could go visit him for a week. So we met in Amsterdam. But before I left, I talked to my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm going to Belgium. And I had remembered that my grandfather, who's from Needham, Massachusetts, fought in World War II. And I remember a while ago, before he passed away, that he had a connection with a family that during the war they had him stay in Belgium as a soldier. So what I wanted to do, and in the early 80s, they started writing letters with each other. So I asked my mom after my grandfather passed away, before I left, I said, is there any, addresses? Is there any way that I can go to see if these people are still around? If the people that my grandfather knew during World War II are still in Belgium. And my mom I made a copy of a letter with the address on the envelope. So I had a piece of paper, and I knew that I'd have a couple days while my friend was at school in Belgium to go off on an adventure to go and try and find these people. So it's the middle of the week, my friend's in class, and I decide I'm in Brussels, I'm gonna hop on the train, I have an address on this piece of paper with a name, and I'm gonna see what's gonna happen. I don't know, I'm a college student, we'll see what goes on. So I take the train, I'm able to figure it out, and I look on the map, and the closest big city is Antwerp. So I go to Antwerp, I get off the train, I walk to the information booth, and I go up, and I show the person my address. And they're like, okay, you need to take this bus. So I go to the bus, I take it, I end up in the town. So now I'm in the town of the address. I go to the city council building, or I go to the information building, I say, this is a family, I explain them the story, as best as they can understand. Guy sends me to another place, which is like the city council area. He calls over, explains my story. They're expecting me. So I show up. Into the downtown city building, and I'm like, hi, I have this address. Can you help me find where these people are? And this woman is so excited. She's totally on my team. I was so worried. I'm like, am I even gonna find these people? And she goes through the records. She sees the names. She tells me the house that's on this address is a mile away, but they don't live there anymore. They moved back into Antwerp. So I'm like, okay, well, so I walked the mile, because all I know is this house that was on the address was the house that my grandfather was at. So I walked the mile, I go to the house, I'm looking around, I'm trying to envision my grandfather, my age, a soldier in the war, and I'm like, this seems like a nice house, I'm peeking in the windows, looking all around, looking over, the fence. I think the people in the house were kind of scared, but whatever, I do a couple selfies of myself before selfies were a thing, and I get on the bus back to Antwerp. And I go to the same person by the train station. I say, hey, I'm back. I got a new address. How do I get here? And she's like, you got to take this local train, go to this apartment building. So I'm going. It's been a couple hours. I'm getting tired. I walk, get off the train. I see the apartment building, and I walk inside into the lobby. And I start going through all the mailboxes. And I'm looking, and finally, I see the name matches. And I'm like, holy shit. I found it. I found the people. Maybe they're here. So I start pushing the button. I see what room it is, and I start pushing the button. And I'm like, come on, hopefully. And somebody answers, and they're speaking not English. So I'm like, oh, shit, how do I get these people down here? So I'm like, come downstairs. Hi, please, downstairs. And then 5 minutes later, this old guy shows up with this confused look on his face. And he's like, what, huh? And I'm like, hi, I'm here, I know my grandfather knew you, because I have no idea who this guy is. And this woman walks in, and because he speaks Flemish, and this woman's like, do you want me to translate? And I'm like, yes, please. She helps me translate. I show him the letter with the name on the address. He has this amazing look on his face. His eyes light up, and he brings me upstairs. And I end up meeting his wife, who was a little girl when my grandfather was there during World War II. She pulls out pictures. She pulls out the letters that I have my mom has the copy of the letters when they were writing back that my grandmother received. They had the letters that my grandmother was sending about my mom having me, having my cousins, and it was an amazing experience. What an adventure for me to have, to bring me closer to my grandfather, to imagine him, as my age. And I'm glad I'm not telling the story as a misconnection. So my desire for an adventure to be closer with my grandfather. Thank you.